to read aloud with Amy. Today we are going to read Hansel and Gretel. Hansel and Gretel. Once upon a time in a forest far, far away, there were two children named Hansel and Gretel. They lived with their parents in a small cottage at the edge of the forest. One day, their parents told Hansel and Gretel that they needed to go deep into the forest to find food because all of the vegetables in their garden were eaten by bugs. The children were scared but also excited about the adventure. Their mother packed them a basket of bread and cheese for the journey. As they walked deeper into the forest, Hansel and Gretel came across a beautiful butterfly. Hansel wanted to catch it, but Gretel reminded him of their mission to find food for their family. Following the butterfly had taken them a little off the path. They didn't want to get lost in the woods, so Hansel had an idea to drop breadcrumbs along the way so they could find their way back home. As they moved deeper into the woods, Hansel and Gretel collected a basket of roots and leaves they knew were safe to eat. Once they had all they could carry, they turned around to follow the breadcrumbs home. They walked a few paces through the woods, but then came upon a flock of birds eating their breadcrumbs. They were lost. Hansel and Gretel wandered in what they thought was the right direction. They didn't know where to go, so thought it would be better if they just keep walking. In between some trees they had never seen before, they came across a gingerbread house covered in candy. The children were hungry and wanted a sweet treat. They knocked on the door, and an old lady opened it and invited them for some gingerbread. The old lady smiled widely as she held the door open. But as soon as Hansel and Gretel were inside, she slammed it shut and locked it. Gretel screamed and Hansel tried to shield her from the awful witch. "Don't worry, children, I will give you something sweet to eat. After all, I need to flatten you up before I eat you," the witch cried. The children were horrified and immediately knew they had to escape. While they sat at the table waiting for a snack to arrive, Hansel had a plan. Just when the witch turned her back, he grabbed the broom nearby and broke the window. Gretel helped him, and together they climbed out the window and ran as fast as they could. As they were running through the forest, they came across a kind woodcutter who saw that the children were in trouble. He asked them what happened, and when they told him about the witch, he knew he had to help them. He took them to his cabin, and his wife sliced them big pieces of fresh bread and spread them with butter. The woodcutter wanted to make sure the children were safe, so while they were eating, he set off to destroy the witch's gingerbread house. He set fire to the gingerbread house so that the witch wouldn't be able to trap kids ever again. Even though it was very late when everything was finished, the woodcutter wanted to make sure the children got home safely. He escorted them through the woods back to their parents' cottage on the edge of the forest. When they reached home, their parents were overjoyed to see them. They had been so worried and had seen the smoke from the fire. They hugged the children and cried tears of happiness. Hansel and Gretel told their parents about the breadcrumbs and the woodcutter who had saved them from the witch, and their parents were so thankful he had the children were safe. From that day on, Hansel and Gretel never forgot about their adventures in the forest. They worked hard to grow delicious food in their garden and made sure if they were going into the forest, they had a guide so they could find their way home again. The end. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Have a great day. Goodbye.